This is Victor from True Crime Cases. We live in an age where our cell phones are more powerful than anything our ancestors could imagine. We can access and share information with the world in an instant. But this comes at a price. For some, the price is scars which do not heal and must be endured for a lifetime. This case shocked the world, not just due to its brutality, but the fact that the video of the crime was circulated online, and the perpetrators received what many consider a very lenient sentence. However, this was handed down in accordance with the laws of the country. It's always a fine line between balancing justice for the victim and a chance for rehabilitation and reintegration into society for those who are convicted. In this case, however, the family of the victims felt justice was not served. Stick with me till the end, as I will share an update with you. And as always, I love to discuss with you and read your thoughts in the comments. Let's go.
Sagkeeng First Nation, Canada, a self-governing society that lies 100 kilometers or 70 miles northeast of Winnipeg and is a community of around 3,000 Native people. April 22, 2017, 19-year-old Serena Mckay attended a house party. This would be the last day anyone would see her alive. The next day at 6 p.m., Serena's absence was reported to the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, or RCMP. The search began right away. However, it didn't take long for a horrifying update. A call came in from Alma Kakepines, a resident of Sagkeeng. She had found a woman's body near a home in the neighborhood. Alma said, quote, "I was one of the first on the scene," her voice trembling. "I'm taking medication now. I can't stop seeing it. It's really hard. She was on the ground outside, and you couldn't see until you walked up from the road. You couldn't even see her." Alma and an anonymous person led the RCMP officers to the scene. She was describing a haunting sight. A woman's body was so badly pulverized that it was barely recognizable as a human being. The body was left in the snow, and the face was swollen beyond recognition, with marks and blood all over it. Alma said she felt terrible, recalled hearing a lot of noise that Saturday night. Quote, "But we hear this every night over here," she said. "I thought, well, it's just another house party again. So when the noise stopped around 12:50 a.m., I went to bed, not thinking anymore." The guilt weighs heavily on her. Quote, "I feel terrible. I keep thinking I should have called. I should have called." The reaction wasn't limited to her. The community described the shock they felt when they learnt of the incident.
Everybody's in shock. Shock. Heartbroken. Like I couldn't sleep at all last night. I kept thinking, like, how did this happen?
Serena Chelsea Mckay, affectionately known as Serenity, was born on September 30th, 1997, to Harvey Mckay and Dolores Daniels. She was a student at Sagkeeng's Anishinaabe High School and was deeply rooted in Manitoba's First Nations community. Serena was a lively and sociable person who loved being around her friends. Her joy was contagious. She enjoyed music, photography, and looked forward to her future after high school. Unfortunately, her life was cut short by a horrific act of violence. But it's what came after that made it so much worse for her family and loved ones. News of her brutalized body spread quickly in such a small community, leaving everyone in shock. But the horror didn't end there. Videos of her assault began circulating on social media. The videos posted on Facebook were shocking and gruesome. Mckay was on the ground, barely alive, as she was savagely beaten by two girls. She pleaded for mercy, but they ignored her cries. Blood streamed down her face and bruises covered her body. It was a brutal assault. The longer video also showed a heavy boot stomping on her head, as well as the sounds of bones cracking. It was inhumane and hard to believe anyone could do such a thing, let alone record and share it online. Both female and male voices can be heard in the video, but it's unclear exactly how many people are around her. Mckay was heard saying, quote, "I'm so sorry," although there is no available context in the video as to what she is sorry for or why she's being attacked. A female voice is then heard saying, quote, "If you send anyone after me, I will kill you. I will fucking kill you myself." The videos appalled and disgusted Mckay's family and the entire community, but they stayed online for days, reaching millions of viewers online. Facebook initially did nothing to remove the footage. It's unclear why. April 24th, 2017, 2 days after the incident, Mckay's high school principal, Claude Guimont, saw the disturbing video and alerted the police, or RCMP. That same day, one of the girls in the video, a 16-year-old, confessed to the school counselor that she had participated in the beating. She was told to surrender to the RCMP, and she did so out of fear. Facebook removed the short video after Sakeen's Grand Chief, Derek Henderson, contacted them. But the longer, more graphic video stayed online until after April 26th, when CBC News got involved. The video stayed accessible on Facebook for almost 4 days. The damage was done, Serenity was gone, and her brutal assault has been copied and shared online, where it still exists today. It will likely never be erased from the internet. On the night of the incident, a gathering of approximately 12 individuals took place. Amidst a revelry, a dispute over alcohol arose, leading to a physical altercation amongst the girls present. Some say the fight was over a boy. Others say Mckay called one of the suspects a bad mom. The exact cause that instigated this altercation remains unknown. It seemed Mckay was initially punched in the face and left bleeding with a broken nose, but was then followed outside for the beating, which was infamously shared online. But more on this later. In the aftermath of the tragic incident, 2 teenagers, aged 16 and 17, were taken into custody. One of the suspects implicated herself in the incident through a series of instant messages and Snapchat posts. She shared a photo on Snapchat that showed her speared in blood, smiling, with the caption, "Just chilling." An exchange of messages obtained by RCMP gives us a snapshot of the minds of the suspects. Initially, the messages said, quote, "We had a fight. I broke her nose, and then what happened next? She left after that. She was okay. She was up and walking." However, a few hours after, the messages took a drastic turn. The suspect wrote, quote, "She was found dead. Bro, please promise me when we fought, it wasn't that bad. Her nose was just bleeding a lot. I'm really scared. Promise me you won't tell them I fought her deadly. Please, bro, say, after we closed the door, she left." This exchange revealed that the suspects had broken the victim's nose during the altercation. Despite the injury, the victim was reported to have left the scene, seemingly okay and able to walk. The suspect also noticed the victim's nose had bled profusely. May 1st, 2017, the RCMP officially ruled Mckay's death a homicide, charging the 2 girls with second-degree murder. The 2 girls were schoolmates of Mckay, but the Canadian Youth Criminal Justice Act prohibits the public disclosure of the names of accused or convicted young criminals. Therefore, news outlets were not allowed to identify the perpetrators. However, they have since been identified as Chrissy Jacobs, who was 17 at the time and had a 3-year-old son, and Leanne Cook, who was 16. Both suspects were schoolmates of Serena. May 26, 2017, the trial began at Manitoba Provincial Court in Winnipeg. During the trial, a pathologist testified that Serena Mckay likely succumbed to hypothermia. Her injuries, coupled with the amount of alcohol in her system, rendered her unable to seek protection from the chilling cold. The court heard that Serena had sustained a staggering 67 injuries to her body, a testament to the brutal assault she endured. In other words, Serena Mckay was brutally assaulted and left to die outside in the cold by 2 of her schoolmates. It seemed during the assault no one intervened to save her, and worse still, afterwards, no one came to check up on her as she lay dying in the cold. Yet, they were happy to circulate the video of her beating. Also, what about the other people at the party? Why did no one bother to check up on her, and why weren't they also identified? The jury heard a total of 32 victim impact statements. These statements came not only from family members and friends, but also from strangers and individuals as far away as New York or Texas. They expressed how deeply they were affected by the tragedy and the disturbing video of the assault that was viewed on Facebook. However, the judge ruled that statements from abroad cannot be admissible. The two girls, both teenagers at the time, were charged with and pleaded guilty to second-degree murder. They were ordered to undergo a psychological assessment. The defense argued that the cause of death was hypothermia, not the beating. Following the guilty pleas, prosecutors sought adult sentences for the girls, arguing that a youth sentence with a maximum of 3 years would be too lenient. Leanne Cook, who was 16 at the time of the crime, had her defense argue she was a, quote, panicked young person who should be sentenced as a youth. April 2017, the Manitoba judge sentenced her to 2 years in prison and a year of conditional supervision under charges of manslaughter. The judge commented that this was a, quote, incredibly difficult decision, but they chose to sentence the teen as a youth because she did not exhibit adult-like behavior during the crime, according to psychological reports. June 2018, Provincial Judge Rocky Pollock sentenced the older suspect, Chrissy Jacobs, to 3 years and 4 months in prison and nearly 2 years of conditional supervision. This is a maximum sentence they were bound by, according to the laws in Canada. Another condition of the sentencing is the girls were not allowed to communicate with each other while their sentences were being served. In the wake of Serena Mckay's tragic passing, her community rallied together to remember her life and honor her memory. On April 25, 2017, Sakin Anasanabe High School held a healing ceremony for its students and staff. Counselors were brought in to provide support during this difficult time. April 27, 2017, a vigil was held at Sakin's powwow grounds. It began with singing and drumming circle, a poignant tribute to Serena. There were more vigils held in the following days. Serena's funeral was held at Westford Church in Winnipeg on May 1, 2017. She was laid to rest in the city she called home. A few weeks later, on June 23, 2017, Sakin Anasanabe High School had its graduation ceremony. A red gown and diploma marked Serena's seat, a powerful reminder of the bright young woman who was about to graduate. The school also honored Serena by awarding her a diploma posthumously and creating a scholarship in her name. Updates. In August 2020, Chrissy Jacobs, the older suspect, tried to remove negative influences from her life. She ended a toxic relationship with the father of her 4-year-old son and cut ties with a friend who had a minor role in the events that led to Mckay's death. Chrissy Jacobs was transferred to the Women's Correctional Center, an adult facility in Headingley. She participated in an ongoing program that offered support to Indigenous offenders, earned her high school diploma whilst in jail, and was praised as a role model at the Manitoba Youth Center. She worked at the laundry at the Women's Correctional Center. However, she was denied a request for an early release so that she could return to her First Nations community and enroll at the University of Manitoba. Judge Pollock rejected the request in a written decision on August 26, 2020, stating that the woman, quote, still does not appreciate the significance of her consequences. A progress report from a probation officer said the woman was still easily misled by others, whilst a review from a traditional knowledge keeper at the Women's Correctional Center said the woman, quote, struggles with self-acceptance and will, quote, give up her own values to gain acceptance from others. In a handwritten document by the woman, titled, quote, My Life Story, she wrote about the night of the murder, quote, a couple of drinks turned into a full weekend of binge drinking. Waking up on a Monday and finding out I was involved in a murder was so shocking. I couldn't remember much of the weekend, but watching a video a friend showed me was brutal. I sat back and denied it all because I'm not a violent person. Judge Pollock considered this to be evidence that she still does not appreciate the significance of her actions. Pollock acknowledged that there had been changes in her life, but, quote, they're not changes in my opinion that are material to what led to second-degree murder. Judge Pollock said, quote, "She is serving the maximum youth sentence for taking a life. It is to be hoped that she continues working on this." Conclusion. This author is speechless as he tries to understand why, after the savage beating of Serenity and being left in the cold to freeze to death and having her video shared on social media, the maximum sentence handed down for this crime was less than 3.5 years in prison. Indeed, this seems far too lenient for what many people in this world expect from justice in their own countries. However, it's all a matter of perspective and opinion. So, I want to hear from you, my dear viewers. What do you think of the sentence given? It followed the Canadian justice system after all. But when you think of the people serving longer sentences for lesser crimes, you may feel a sense of injustice that cannot be undone. Now, go check out some of my other cases and hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't already. Your support